Hi, dear students. My name is Leonardo Alba. I just making this video or to clarify some issues or to clarify your doubts about the cohesive devices topic that we already started like a week or 2 weeks ago. So this is a material just to, as I told you before, is to clarify and to have a better picture of what are the cohesive devices, how to use them. And obviously, the point here is that the cohesive devices is basically vocabulary. Vocabulary to express better. When you write, you can write better your pieces of writing, your task, your reports, etc. So it's a matter of or is a way to have more options when you write your writing pieces. So let's get started. The first group that we saw, it was the addition group, in which we can find all these cohesive devices. Moreover, additionally, besides, in addition, and apart from that. Here we can see an example. Basically, it's the same example, but the point here is that we are using and in this case we are not using a comma before using and in this case we are using a comma. The point here is that, as I told you before when I was explaining this, is that when we have a list of more than two things, like in the second case that we have salad, potatoes, and pasta, you have to use a comma before and. In other cases, so you just have to put and. And there are other exceptions that probably we are going to see in another moment of the year. The other part was the use of in addition and apart from that. I mean, basically, all those words have the same function. I mean, we can use it in the same way. So here we have the same example, but in the first one we are using in addition, and in the other one we are using apart from that. But basically the function of this phrase, apart from that, and in addition, is basically the same. Obviously, it's not that you just can use these two, but for example, you can use here additionally instead of in addition, for example, and so on. Here we can see an example with besides, that is basically the same. The other group is the group of contrast. In this case, I just want to highlight the most important ones because I gave you like two groups, but basically these are the most important ones. So we have but, that is the basic connector of contrast. Conversely, however, although, nevertheless, on the contrary. So we have here the same example, but in the first one, we are using however, but we are using a period before the word. And in this case, it's a semicolon, so you can use it in both ways. It doesn't matter if you put a period or a semicolon, you can use it in both ways. And very important is to use the comma after however, okay? In this case, we are using but, and but must be preceded by a comma too. In this case, but is like a basic cohesive device, but here we have however and other options, and it's the same. It's not only that you can use however here, but you can say nevertheless or conversely, etc. It's not always however. And here we have an example in which we use the other one, that is although, that basically has the same function. So we have the example with the students pay for the trip. However, most of them could not go because of their low grades. And we are saying the same but using although. Something very important here is that when we use although, we cannot use in this section or in the middle of the two clauses however or but. The point here is that when we use although plays the same role that however is the same function, so we cannot use although and however at the same time in the same sentence. So although the students paid for the trip, most of them could not go because of their low grades. Okay? And it's basically the same. Very important. You don't need a comma here, but the comma goes here. Okay? I mean, like in the first clause or in the first idea. And last but not least, the purpose cohesive devices in order to, so that, to, and so as to. We have here the same example, but we are using all those cohesive devices in the same way. The only one, I mean, in order to, and so as to, they are using the same way and they have the same function. The only one that has an exception is so that. Why? As I told you in class, when you use so that, you have to put here after so that the reference. Who we are talking about. We cannot say just so that approved her admission. No. Because we are talking about Pilar. So we have to refer to Pilar after so that once again. So that the use of so that can be good. And the negative form, we have the negative form, we have the negative form of those last cohesive devices, but the only ones who have a negative form, I mean for real, a negative form is in order not to and so as not to. So we can see here some examples. The students do not usually bring their cell phones in order not to have problems with the teachers. The students do not usually bring their cell phones so as not to have problems with the teachers. The only one who do not have a negative form is to. So the other one, I mean, to make the same sense or to give the same meaning with so that, we have to make like with a negative sentence. So we say the students do not usually bring their cell phones so that they do not have problems with the teachers. As you can see, we don't include not here, but we put the not or the negative structure in this part. So be careful when you make the negative form with so that, because it is different, as you can see in this example. The only ones who have a negative form for real included in the phrase is in order to and so as to, and is, as you can see in those two cases. So that's all, guys. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm sure that this material is gonna help you to study for the quiz that is gonna be this Tuesday. Thank you very much and hope to see you soon. Bye.